and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. While we're getting everything ready, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Live YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/filmmyrun and also Twitter at filmmyrun, and the website is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax, don't forget to drop me a ride on and watch me do all the hard work. Welcome along to Bag That Badge. We're doing the chili pepper route. It's only 8 kilometres, it'll be over before you know it, but I am hoping that during the course of this run I will level up to level 27. Welcome to Bag That Badge. Oh no, flag that badge. Honestly, my other phone is better. Really, really unbelievable. Right, hello everyone who's watching on YouTube and Facebook. Jeff Partridge has already done his run today, so has Tina Beard. They're not with us, but they are watching. Kevin DeLuca says, hi Stephen and Victoria. Good evening, Heather. Hello, Yoko. She says, good luck. A cheer from New York Hills. Hello, Yoko. Anthony Anderson, good evening all. Hope you're all okay after last night. Yeah, it was a tough session last night. Tina says, a bad workman always blames his tools. Yes, but explain to me then how my rubbish, crappy old phone, no, I don't think it has learned it. I just think this one's rubbish. My rubbish, crappy old phone is better at voice to text than this new one. For some reason, Victoria doesn't want me to tell you what kind of phone I have because she thinks I'm showing off. Anyway, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that my stupid phone can't do voice to text. Tina Beard says, thank you, Heather. I'm concerned about my arm, but I have an appointment to see my surgeon. Yeah, I noticed that this morning. Tina, you were talking about that. I hope it's okay. Buenaventura is coming. He's on his way. So he's going to be with us shortly, hopefully. I'm just going to chat to the gang in-game. So I'll give the mic to Victoria. Also, I noticed Sarah Jacobson says, Victoria's run 2 days in a row. It's actually 3 days in a row, we think.
If I'm ill or whether I've just got dodgy heart rate, but this week my heart rate is far higher than what it should be. Heather hopes all goes well for Tina. Hi Kevin, says, how is the marathon training going, Victoria and Stephen? Kevin, my marathon training isn't what it was a year ago, but I have different goals. So I'm doing fewer kilometres each week. I have 3 marathons in April. It's all about finishing them and getting to the next one. Stephen is targeting Paris and will attempt another sub-3. So far, his training is going okay, but anything can happen. It would be sad not to see you there this year though, Kevin.
Sarah Jacobson is about to complete her first ever 50-mile week. If her training carries on this week, so it's Thursday today, we've got Friday, Saturday and Sunday, Sarah Jacobson is going to hit 50 miles for the week, so that'd be awesome. I'm actually having a little bit of a change to my plan. So normally I follow my own training plan, my own training block, and do what the heck I like, really. But it's some of you may have noticed I went out yesterday on a run with a friend of mine called Stu, who is a very experienced runner, and we went out on a run together because he emailed me and he was almost indignantly annoyed at my training plan. And he said, your last 4 weeks is totally wrong. Let me tell you what to do. So he came with me on a run yesterday, and I'm happy to go with his suggestions. So my training block is altering somewhat over the next 3 weeks to what Stu believes I should be doing rather than what I think I should be doing. So we'll see how it goes. It does involve a reduction in mileage, not an increase. So I was going to be doing 100 miles next week. I am not doing anything like that now. Okay, so Kevin has asked what 3 marathons Victoria will be doing in April. Let me hand you over to Vic.
Kevin, I have got Paris, because it has to be done. And then I've got Boston and London. All because I qualified at last year's Paris Marathon, and I feel like I have to follow it through. No running today from Anthony Anderson. It's been raining all day, so went to see my running pal who recently had a heart attack but is recovering. Oh no! Well, glad they're recovering though. In response to Stephen's comments, she says, "That told you, Mr. Know-It-All." And Paul Hayward would like to know if Tina is running or eating cottage pie.
Or both. Okay.
Or both. Heather says the dangers of overachieving, Victoria, equals 3 marathons. It's all good training though, Heather. Tina has already run twice, and she's not eating cottage pie, she's eating biscuits. Very nice. Kevin says, looks like a 6-star chase now, Victoria. Do you know, that's not really priority for me. I've never done any of the marathon majors, so I'll hopefully tick off 2 next month. I think I'm looking forward to the challenges of OCC at UTMB week. And I think another 4 majors might just bankrupt me. Heather says, I think it's great. You are all very inspirational. Thank you, Heather. I really do attribute a lot of my Paris Marathon last year to the camaraderie of Zwift and all these group runs, the interval sessions we did together, and then being able to run it with Stephen, Clive and Sebastian all pacing me, keeping me relaxed. It was a good team effort. my heart rate has gone from 155 to 117. And I don't feel much different. Absolute nonsense. Buenaventura says, looks like in FMR, all are wearing blue sky colour. Only I haven't achieved the blue vest yet, Buenaventura. Anthony, yep, no upset stomachs today. Or yet. Degrees in shed quarters. Stephen's saying it's cold, I'm saying it's hot. Yes, Buenaventura, we will get there soon. Slowly but surely. Recovered nicely from last night's intervals. That really was mad. Buenaventura's toast. Buenaventura enjoyed the workout last night. You did really well. Yoko says, yeah, thank you very much yesterday. Couldn't do anything alone. My race is April. You're a very good helper. Thank you, Yoko. I think we were all motivating each other last night, encouraging us to reach beyond what we thought was possible. Yep, and we made it. I've not heard reports of any health and safety issues from last night. Heather said, I was saying earlier that I really enjoyed yesterday's speed session. I was feeling tired and grumpy beforehand, but it really lifted my mood. That's really great to hear, Heather. I often experience similar. You were amazing last night. Buenaventura. Unfortunately, because we all pushed ourselves beyond the prescribed workout, we actually missed our last star. But it was very satisfying.
Victoria's been keeping up with the live stream chat. I've been keeping up with the in-game chat. So we're talking about marathon times and good for age qualification and whether you can or can't achieve something. So I'll just give you a bit of an insight. Well, I mean, it's not much of an insight, but a little bit of what I was talking about with my friend Stu yesterday. And he was saying, you know, we have this saying in running, and it's a bit of a joke, that 90% of running is mental and the other 10% is in your head. So it's, you know, a little joke about what it takes to run a marathon or an ultra distance race. But what Stu was telling me yesterday, I'll just give you a few of Stuart's credentials. So Stuart is a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. He's won the Beachy Head. So some of you did the Beachy Head Marathon with us last year and will do this year. He's won the Beachy Head Marathon 8 times. He's also won the Lakeland 100 miler 2 times. He came 22nd at UTMB one year. And his fastest marathon time was I can't remember now what he said. I think it was 2:30, but I can't remember exactly. Anyway, and he's about 6 years older than me, so he's just turned 60. So 7 years older than me. So he knows what he's talking about. And he said what he's learned over the years is physical performance. Yes, okay, you do need some training. You cannot run a marathon or a fast 10k on no training. But he was explaining to me that even though we have this joke about running all being in your head, actually it's more true than you might imagine. So, you know, have you ever heard these stories about a car crash where somebody's stuck under a car and somebody finds the strength to lift the car up and pull their child from underneath it? Where does that strength come from? He was explaining to me a lot about, okay, well, years ago, we thought it was all about carbohydrates. And then we realised you could run out of carbohydrates and still run. And so we thought it was all about fat burning. And then we realised you could still run when not fat burning. And then we thought before that it was all about muscle soreness. And then we realised that lactic acid wasn't a thing that deteriorated muscle performance. Anyway, he was explaining all this stuff, half of which I've forgotten now. And he basically came to the conclusion that it has to be, or the only thing left is your head. And a lot of the time when you're running, it's your head that lets you down. It's your head that tells you you can't do something. So if you go to the start of a marathon believing you're not going to do it, you don't think you're well trained enough, you don't think you're strong enough, then you will fail or you won't achieve your goal. If you go into the marathon totally believing that you can do it and you will do it, you're far more likely to succeed. So that's basically the conversation that I had yesterday. And he asked me 3 questions. He said, what do you want to achieve? Why do you want to achieve it? And how much do you want to achieve it? And my 3 answers to those questions told him that I was 2/3 of the way there, but not all the way there. So my goal is achieving a sub 3-hour marathon in Paris. That's what I want to achieve. Why do you want to achieve it? Well, because I want to challenge myself. I want to beat my previous time. I want to feel the excitement and the pleasure of achieving something great, and that amazing feeling you get when you cross the finish line. I want to feel that again, that amazing feeling. Yeah, I want people to be proud of me, my wife to be proud of me. I want to be proud of myself. So that's why I want to do it. How much do I want to do it? That for me was the problem. So yes, I would like to do it. I'd really like to do it. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to break down in tears. I'm not going to be devastated. And he said, those 3 answers tell me that you're 2/3 of the way there, because you have to absolutely want it. And we have to balance that with our lifestyle as well. So, you know, I've got a wife, 2 kids, busy lifestyle. Can I afford, and do I want to dedicate absolutely everything in pursuit of that goal? Am I willing to do everything I possibly can to achieve that goal? And my answer to that is no, I'm not. And he said that's the difference between you and an elite runner who absolutely has to give everything in pursuit of that goal and will not give up until they achieve that goal, despite everything. Amy doesn't want to be made to cry on this run. So right, that's my lecture over. I mean, I'm just trying to pass on what he said to me yesterday on our snowy run on the Downs to you guys. Yes, so Jeff Partridge is recommending a book called Endure Mind, Body and the Curious Elastic Limits of the Human Performance by Alex Hutchinson. Yes. And Stu recommended a book to me as well yesterday. For the life of me now, I can't remember what it was called. I'll try and remember what it was called, but it was basically all about that, all about how much do you want it and how much can your head tell you that you want it, because that's the deciding factor in ultimate performance achievement. Somebody asked me if the body changes after 50. Well, it's always been my belief that the older I get, the less I can put in fast, hard efforts. And I've always felt that I need to run more distance in order to be a faster runner. So that's why I do a lot of 100k weeks, and in my marathon blocks I build up to 100 miles, or at least close to 100 miles, because I feel like I need to run lots of miles but just slower, rather than a younger person who can run a lot fewer miles during their week, but they can do them a lot faster. So essentially we get the same performance gains, but they do fewer miles faster, I do more miles slower. That's the basic idea that I've always had. But my friend Stu is 60 years old and he only runs 40 miles a week and still runs under 3 hours for a marathon. Go on, do you want to do it?
Paul Hayward says, the difference between an A and an A star. I will tell my students that.
Yeah. How much do you want it?
How much do you want it? Yoko, mental marathon. That's what my goal is. Thank you, Stephen. Interestingly, Jeff Partridge says, the older I get, the better I was.
I like it.
Are you not aging like a fine wine? I mean, I guess it's because I've taken up running later in life, and I can still achieve PBs. I've not quite hit 50, but it definitely feels a harder effort these days. Heather says sometimes you need to reprogram your brain to think like that. It goes against the grain a bit for a sour Scot pessimist. Yeah, I totally agree, Heather, about resetting yourself. Sometimes I really do feel like I have to reset myself, both physically and mentally. Hello to Robofet on Twitch. Thank you for joining us. We're halfway through. But Tina says that she needs longer to recover the older she gets. Anybody think we're all falling apart? Geriatrics on Zwift. Buenaventura just wants to run for fun. Anthony Anderson says wait until you hit the 70s. It's easier. I do find working full-time, having a family and trying to train for races, it's a really hard juggling act. And I really am at that stage where I'm starting to feel exhausted.
Okay, I've just been told off by Amy Green. I hope it wasn't too much of a reality check. I mean, I agree with Buenaventura a lot of the time. You know, we should just run to enjoy it, run to have fun. If you want to achieve, if you want to beat your personal bests, if you want to run as fast as you can, then go for it. But running is about fun, running is about enjoyment, running is about being with people like we are today, you know, running together, nature, seeing, you know, going to beautiful places and running in beautiful places. That's what running is about for a lot of people. And that's what it's about for Buenaventura, and I agree totally. And, you know, 90% of the races that I do are all about that. They're all about the scenery, nature, people, togetherness, camaraderie, getting through difficult situations, tough races, by sticking together and by helping each other out and by, you know, acknowledging the beauty of where you are. But there is a place in my heart, in my brain, there is a place for trying to run as fast as you can. And still, like Victoria says, because I wasn't running marathons when I was 20, I can still hope to beat some of my previous times, and that is still a thing for me. You know, even at my lofty age, it still feels like something I'd like to try and achieve occasionally. Sarah Jacobson, the live streams do have closed captions on them. I think you have to enable them at your end. I'm not sure.
Robofet is a UTMB runner trapped in an unfit, injured body.
Oh no.
Just wants to be able to run 10k. Everything after that is a bonus.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. We've all, well, I wouldn't say I've been to UTMB, but most of us have experienced injuries and haven't been able to run. And that really is a mental issue as well to deal with when you can't do what you know you have done. But good luck. Be slow with your recovery though. Buenaventura has a busy life and work, which doesn't let him always run.
Right on!
RoboFet says, thanks very much, hoping to get there soon. It's been a long 18 months out. Well, a close friend of ours, I think, is probably near to 2 years that it's taken him to recover from an injury. It's all about being patient, I think, not overdoing things. Jeff Partridge is just lazy and can't be asked to run half the time. But to be fair, Jeff, you do attempt some ridiculously long ultras. RoboFet says, on the bright side, I get to enjoy starting from scratch again and doing things right this time. I'm sure even after 18 months though, you've still got muscle memory and you'll probably progress quicker than if you started as a non-runner. Robo says, yep, good point actually. Buenaventura has a question for Stephen.
Buenaventura, how many miles on the treadmill have you already, this year, today? In total? Oh gosh. Well, now, here's a funny thing. I could press my button, which would show you how many kilometres I have run on Zwift. It's about 10,700 kilometres. So that's about 6,000 miles. But I can't press the button because whilst I was doing some testing the other day, I was typing in random words and I just typed in a rude word. And I can't show you it because the rude word is still on there. So I can't show you that page. On the Techno Gym, I've no idea, Buenaventura. I mean, it's a lot of miles, but it's probably close to the same as Zwift, because I've not done that many miles on Zwift prior to getting this treadmill. So yeah, I go on Noble Pro sometimes as well. I mean, it must be around about 5,000 miles on the treadmill. Roberfeld says, do you prefer trail running or marathons? I prefer trail running. So if you gave me a choice of running the London Marathon or UTMB, I would always choose UTMB. If you gave me a choice of running a trail 100 miler or a random road marathon, I would always choose the trail 100 miler. So like I said earlier, my heart is 90% trail running and mountains and beautiful scenery. But there is still a 10% part of me which wants to run fast and wants to do road marathons and 10Ks and 5Ks on the flat, on the road. I still have that desire still, somewhere. So yeah, there you go. So, okay, Buenaventura says he has 1,222 kilometers on his Techno Gym. How do you know that then? Is there a setting somewhere that you can look at how much you've run on your treadmill? Yeah, I've had my deck and belt replaced, but the electronics should still be the same. Paul Hayward says, as you get older, even a small amount of exercise makes a big difference. Read the other day that 78-year-olds who do 4,500 steps had a 77% lower risk of major heart problems. 4,500 steps a day, I would imagine. And of course, the ideal recommended is 10,000 a day in general, isn't it? For the general population, 10,000 steps a day. So even if you're 77, 78 years old, is that right? 4,500 steps a day will significantly reduce your risk of heart problems. Buenaventura itself, you don't do maintenance on the Techno Gym. It does it itself, so you never have to oil or grease a Techno Gym treadmill. The only thing you will have to have at some point, the deck will snap because you've been running on it so much, and you'll have to have the deck and the belt replaced. And the last time I had it done, it was around 400 UK pounds, but it's more than that now. I've had it done once, but I definitely need to get it done again. Right, I'll explain this as well, because months and months ago, I said that my deck and belt needed repairing, and I had an engineer come out, and he looked and he said, yeah, you definitely need it repairing. We'll get it all booked in for you. But since then, it's been really weird because it doesn't slip anything like it used to, and I haven't had the burning smell at all for 6 months since last summer. Anthony Anderson says, as long as you do the best that you can when you run, you can be proud of yourself that you gave it your best shot. Yes, absolutely. As long as deep inside you know that you've done the best that you can. But how often can we say that? Robefeld says, what treadmill is it? Does it adjust to game incline? Well, so no treadmills adjust to the Zwift game incline because Zwift has to broadcast that information to the treadmills, and it doesn't do that. So Zwift is at fault here. So my treadmill and the one Victoria's running on, so Victoria's got the Noble Pro, I've got the Techno Gym My Run. Let me just show you from the top down camera, if I can find the top down camera. There we go. So that's my treadmill. Yeah, just ignore these two buttons sets here. They're not part of the treadmill. These are both capable of changing incline automatically, but they need the data. They need the control data to do that. And Zwift is supposed to, well, Zwift doesn't send that data to treadmills. It sends it to the bikes, and there are some hacks that some people use where you can get the control data sent to your treadmill, but they are hacks only, and they don't work a lot of the time, and there's a lot of steps you have to go through to get it to work, and it doesn't work on all treadmills. So it's all a bit of a faff. Faraz42, good night. Take care. Thanks for joining us. We've got 2K to go, by the way, in the Beacon group here. So yeah, that's the story of auto incline on Zwift. It is not a thing yet, simply because Zwift have not enabled it. Right. Luke Melling, Cherry, Rob, No Pain No Gain, Amy, Sarah, Nelson, Buenaventura, John Shaw, Victoria, all still running with us here on the Bag That Badge episode. Robofelt say, yeah, my watt bike changes, so it's very strange how it doesn't do it for treadmill. It is. It is supposedly partly to do with safety, but also it's more really to do with numbers. So the demand for implementing that is not great enough yet for Zwift to bother. There has been talk about it being an insurance issue. If somebody fell off the back of the treadmill, would they sue Zwift? But I've been told that that's not really the main issue. And the main issue is just that running numbers are very low. And of those running, low compared to cycling. And of those people who do run on Zwift, actually very few of those people have a smart treadmill. So it's not worth Zwift bothering to implement those changes. I don't know how difficult it is to implement, but they say it's not worth implementing those changes because there aren't enough people that would benefit from it. And what they want to do, they say, is to do changes that will benefit a large proportion of the running community. So, yes, Victoria will catch up with the other chat in game.
Yoko says it was a good lesson. You're welcome. Ferris42, for how long have you run for? My wife noticed that you don't get out of breath when talking. Also, tips to convince her to work out with me. If you notice, firstly, we've been running for 6.5 kilometres, nearly 44 minutes. Stephen's heart rate is currently 115. Mine is currently 122. So our heart rate is low enough for us to easily have a conversation. Last night we did interval session. When we were doing the speed session, at times we really couldn't walk. And we'd go very quiet. But those walking breaks, we could catch up. It's also about how much you run allows your heart rate to be lower. So the fitter you become, the lower your heart rate. So a lot of people in training, they'll decide to do a run and they won't go above, say, 130 or 150. And as soon as they do, just walk, slow down, just reining in that heart rate. Okay, so he said, sorry, I meant to ask for how many years have you guys been running? Well, Stephen did his first marathon 12 years ago. Was it 12 years? No, 11 years ago. And his first half marathon was 13 years ago. I started running, I think it was about 8 or 9 years ago, after I'd had 2 major knee operations, which allowed me to run. Yes, 80-20 running is what we do mostly. It's made a huge difference to my fitness. So it's about just over 18 months ago, I adopted 80-20 running under Stephen's recommendation. And that's how I then got a marathon PB. Because I wasn't tired after I finished a run, I could run the next day and the day after. Jeff Partridge is saying,
I want to do it. Right, Jeff Partridge has just come on. So Jeff Partridge says that he started running in his 40s because he started running 40 years ago. So mid to late 40s for Jeff when he started running. Good on you, Jeff. Well done for keeping going, buddy. That's a quality effort, mate. Heather says, I only started to run with my husband very recently. I always thought I'd hold him back. Well, no, I mean, Victoria and I quite often go out on runs together, and it depends what we want to achieve. What we want to achieve, sorry, there are T's in that. What we want to achieve. Sometimes I'll run a bit quicker and Victoria will keep up with me, and sometimes Victoria will run a bit slower and I'll stay with her. And sometimes we don't even think about pace. We just set off running together and we'll just stay together and we don't even talk about how fast we're going. Mind you, that isn't very often. We usually do mention pace, or whether we should do it progressive or whether we'd like to finish in under 3 hours or whatever it might be. No, you don't. You don't. Well, okay, I suppose if we're going slow, yeah, it's still a harder effort for you than me, maybe, but anyway. Heather says, seeing you and Stephen run together and chatting to Clive about it has convinced me I was wrong. We've really enjoyed it, unless he's pretending. No, I'm sure he's not. Do you know what? Quite a lot of the time. I mean, okay, so yes, I generally run faster than Victoria, and perhaps yes, Sebastian would normally run faster than you, Heather. But quite often, we are very happy and very glad to run a little bit slower, and it is also a good way of tempering our innate enthusiasm to run quicker, because we shouldn't always be running fast. We should run slowly, and running together helps us to do that. Jeff still can't get Anne to run, his wife to run with him. Yeah, despite seeing how much it means to him. Well, I think, initially Victoria started running with me. It was a little bit of, well, if you can't beat them, join them. But it's definitely become it's the major part of our lives now.
Yeah, I definitely caught that running bug. It's a slippery slope. I only ever wanted to be able to do 5k park run. I don't think I'd see very much of Stephen if I didn't run. It's taken a decade for Heather to run with her husband. Amy says, my husband might do park run with me this week, and he will probably beat me even though he runs once or twice a month, if that. But when you say he might run with you, then you would finish together. Jeff's wife Anne did a couple of park runs when they were trying to get the kids active, but she didn't get the bug. But Jeff still hasn't given up. Nice one, Jeff. Keep chipping away at her. RoboFed started running just as his wife gave up and moved to cycling. Oh no, or did she do that deliberately? Paul Hayward is suggesting that Jeff should have held hands. Well, Jeff should have held hands with his wife. The romance is alive in Shed Quarters because we have 2 treadmills side by side and we can hold hands. Jeff Partridge is not going to sacrifice a 20-minute 5K to hold his wife's hand. Oh, so Roberfelt's wife started getting a few injuries and got fed up with running, unfortunately. That's a shame. Perhaps you could tempt her back. Buenaventura says, so cute. We can also punch each other from the treadmills. Yes.
When Victoria wins Pinch Punch first of the month, that's when we punch each other. Right, we are nearly done here. Thank you so much, everybody, for the entertaining chat. Thank you for watching on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So we've had good chat on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch tonight, which is very rare. So thank you, guys, Robofelt and the other chap who was on from Twitch. Thank you guys for joining us. Never say never, Robofelt. He said, although the aim of a 100-mile trail run isn't tempting to her. Yeah, no, you'll get it there. You'll get it there one day. Amy says, well done, everyone. Tina says, well done. It's all been a bit sickly sweet tonight. Yeah, yeah, no, we'll have less of that tomorrow. I promise. Be back to normal tomorrow. Well done, runners, says Heather. Have a good one all, says Robofelt. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Well done, everyone. We are just 100 metres away from the finish line now. Thank you very much for running with us. If you've been in game in the run, Buenaventura, John Shaw, Nelson, Sarah Jacobson. Sarah Jacobson's going to run a bit further on once she's had some food. Jeff Partridge says, what's tomorrow? What is tomorrow? Friday. We'll probably do a Tour of Watopia run. Whatever the Tour of Watopia is, we'll probably do that tomorrow. Let me have a look. Right, let's have a look here. So Victoria's still got to get to the end. I think I've finished. Yeah, I think I have. Okay, so tomorrow at 6 p.m. Tour of Watopia Stage 1 again. Okay, so we're still on Stage 1. So we're not up to Stage 2 yet. Well, I don't see any reason why we can't do another Tour of Watopia Stage 1 tomorrow. Because that's the big run that everybody wants to do. So we'll probably do that. Victoria's going to be late home, so she won't be able to join us. So Victoria's going to the office tomorrow to work. Jeff Partridge is going to join just for the extra XP. Yeah, so Friday, tomorrow, is Stage 1 of Tour of Watopia, again at 6 p.m. That's what we'll do. I might do 6.2 kilometres. I might do that at a bit of a fast pace. We'll see. Sarah Jacobs says, yeah, do it for the XP. Jeff says, why was Zwift Academy so compressed and the tour so stretched out? Yeah, I honestly don't know. The tour, the Zwift Academy did seem to be a little bit of a... it was just thrown in there, wasn't it? And it didn't really have any substance. It was just done over in like 2 weeks, and that was it, wasn't it? 2 or 3 weeks. Well, it wasn't very long. I agree with Jeff. It did seem to be a kind of token. It was a token run academy this year. Yeah, Paul Hayward says he agrees, and he said that in his feedback to Zwift about the run academy this year. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of pizzazz about it this year, was there? I think maybe that's because they knew what was coming up, i.e. the redundancies and things like that, and yeah, even more scaling back of resources. Anyway, why are you still running, Victoria? Oh, Victoria wants to round it up to 9 kilometres. Okay. So, we're done here. I'm sure you're not that worried about seeing Victoria run up to 9 kilometres. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you for taking part in the chat. And we will see you for tour of Watopia at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.